Hi team. Good to see y'all. As y'all know, my name is Mo Niang. Believe it or not, Elkins is not my last name, but it is my family name. But I have the Florida Keys, Central Oregon, Palm Beach, Park City, and Savannah, Georgia. So been here for about 8 months on the team. It's been great working with you guys. Really enjoyed and learned a lot since I've been here. So.
I'm guessing Savannah in the photo?
Yes, sir. That's downtown Savannah. That's our Victorian district. Pretty much where a majority of our turnkey properties live here in downtown Savannah. So if you're looking at it, you have your historic district, Victorian district. Victorian's like mid 18th century architecture. Really nice homes out there. A lot of the properties are over 100 years old, kind of like we talked about, been in the family for a really long time. So it's been really, really cool to dive deeper in regards to learning about these properties. And not only that, but the backstory behind it, because there's some really, really cool backstories behind a lot of the properties out here. So, all right, so my total ops created was 632 ops. I had 65 signups, and my quality score was a 10. Some things to add in there. I think I did a decent job of creating ops as always, but we always want to hone our skills in creating more quality opportunities. I had some issues in regards to markets going down, restrictions. I have some of the most restricted markets. So with that being said, on the back end, I've hit my goals every single month. I've hit my sign-up goals, which is something that's very, very important as well. So the numbers, there's a lot more into my markets than I would say other markets, so that kind of tells into that. In regards to my best ops created, I have two. Well, there's one that I found. The one that I wanted to put was a 6,000 square foot outbound out in Savannah, penthouse, but it actually doesn't have the pictures up yet. It is signed. But the one that I did pull up here is a lady by the name, if I'm not mistaken, Michelle Trafta. This is a lady I outbounded, chatted with her, really, really nice lady. They were running into a lot of issues after the hurricane. So the reason I picked this op is because this was somebody that I really had to be delicate with, understanding their pains and how we can actually help them in regards to, the situation that they were in at the moment. They had issues where their home wasn't going to be live, it wasn't going to be up to par the way that they wanted it to be, but we still had to, find a situation where we could meet their needs. And it was just a really, really cool experience. And the house is obviously a very, very nice property as well. But I was really proud of it because it was somebody that we actually helped and not only made money, but it really benefited them in the long run.
Good looking place. I guess my only question on that, so I see this is a Zillow link, so is this house up on the market?
No, this is live. This property is live.
Okay. I didn't know if I saw an actual listing.
I sent the Salesforce link on there as well. That's where I found the actual link to the property. So I know that is the home. And,
yeah. No, I was just curious. Anytime I see Zillow, I always wonder if they're on the market as well as a short term.
But if so, if I'm not mistaken, we still pitch them, right?
Of course. No, I was just curious. So in regards to the quality score, so little lower than we want to see, of course, and I think a lot of it lends to the fact that you have such a high number of opportunities. It's almost kind of in reverse of what we were talking with Jess, where she's got few, increases her quality score. What would you think you could do to bring that up? It's always going to go back to quality, but just thinking, you create ops at a very high rate. What do you think you could do personally to help increase that score?
One thing that I feel like, honestly, I can do a lot better is time management in regards to the markets that I am setting for. I have 5 markets, so it makes it really tough to follow up on every single op that I set for 5 markets. it just makes it a little bit tough in that regard. One thing that I have been putting into place more is being on that second or third call with my GMs to increase that the rate and just give them a little bit better understanding of the ops and where these people sit as well. Just inserting myself into the process a little bit more is something that I've seen a benefit. We've had multiple opportunities even this month that we've pushed through a lot quicker using that type of methodology. So
yeah, I think that's the way to go too. And I think you've had, I shouldn't say I think, I know you've had multiple one-call closes and very quick turnarounds. Not to say others haven't, but I know you've had a lot. I think just treating almost every opportunity almost in that same aspect. You know, you think anything that's going to be a one-call close, you would have basically taken it to the finish line. You know, it's not going to be one of those situations where you don't bring them far enough and then the GM just crushed it that one phone call. So we put those on you guys. So I think it's just thinking, what did I do on those one-call closes? How can I bring these other opportunities, maybe not as far, but a little bit further in the process? You know, I forget whose QBR was going, maybe John's, but where we were saying if you get them interested enough, it's gonna convert. You know, it's gonna sign. So I think, yeah, just don't get those rep happy ears. Salespeople get happy ears. As soon as we hear what we want to hear, it's on to the next. It's like, let's pump the brakes. Let's take them a little bit further, and let's just make sure that they're excited for this next call, without a doubt. So yeah, great work overall. Absolutely.
Well, and if you can do that for everybody, if you can start doing that, taking it to one call close, I mean, you'll be that much closer to being a sales consultant if you want to.
Yeah.
That's basically what they'll do, and then you can sign your own deals.
Sweet, awesome. But these are some of my highlights and lowlights here. I'm gonna do what my boy John Boy did here and start off with the lowlights and work on to my highlights here. But one of the major lowlights that I had 3 of 5 of my markets that pretty much got smacked by all the hurricanes and natural disasters. So that kind of ties into that quality score as well. Being that my highest performing market was, out for 2-3 months not signing anything. So that was one thing that was really tough. I learned a lot from it in regards to keeping a positive mindset and understanding what the overall goal is. That's something that I had some issues with, but we came along. Losing my GM at the end of the year was a little bit tough. Really just lost contact with a certain GM, and it was making my job a little bit tough in regards to I didn't know what was going on in my market, what was going on with the leads that I was dealing with, and then just kind of at the end of the month we found out that, hey, kind of parted ways. So it was tough because I enjoyed that relationship more than anything, but just really having to rebound, go back into a lot of the things that I set and say, hey, why isn't this moving forward? What do I have to do next? That was just something that was a little bit tough. So last one is I fell short of my houses signed this month. First time, if I'm not mistaken, that's happened to me. It was, I think everybody knows me that I'm real competitive and I always want to do well and be on top. So I take that personally on myself. It was something that, I had some things that I could have done differently, as well as a little bit more GM help. I think we could have gotten there, but with all that being said, you can't win them all. You're not going to get there every single time, and if you're complacent with it, that's the issue, and I'm not complacent with it, and I do see that it wasn't a hit. So that's that. Going into some of my highlights, opened up Savannah this about 2-3 months ago with my GM, Stephen Hollins. Absolutely love Savannah. I think you guys all know I love Georgia with everything in my body. So it was really just an awesome moment to be able to launch something back home and say that I was influential in doing something, and just more than anything, a sense of pride. I think that that's one thing that we all carry here, is that we want to do well and we want our markets to do well, and just having a hometown market, it was really cool. So thank you to you, Joe, for giving me that opportunity. Relaunching the Florida Keys after Hurricane Irma, that was huge. We got a lot of good opportunities up and going. Definitely got some more houses getting signed here. And it's just been a blessing. I know we all have that one market that we really bank on to do big work. This is a market that's done very, very well for us, and it's just cool to see that it's up and going again. So another thing is 33% of my quota outbounds, or 33% of my quota was reached by outbound opportunities. Things that I called on worked. I think when I was running the numbers, it was like 80% of my ops that I create are outbound opportunities, which is also something really cool, being that these are things that you're bringing in to the company yourself. So I was 100% to go in all my markets over Q3 and Q4. I never missed it. So that was, definitely good and a testament to the hard work and things in that regard. Another thing, and this is a little bit away from the work stuff, but just being more involved with you guys has been really, really fun. Playing softball and just spending more time outside of the office. I struggle with anxiety a lot of the time, so I'm not really the guy that wants to, be out in giant crowds or things in that regard. So you guys have been a huge help for me in that regard. Just being able to get out and do more with you guys, because I feel like the relationships that you build outside of work will help you do better here. So that's completely a thank you to you guys. So, and also I got a new BA truck, so that's pretty sweet, and that's just a testament to this place. As a 22-year-old kid who was first one to graduate high school out of my family, first one to receive a college scholarship, never finished school. I'm just being told that you couldn't do things so much. It's just awesome to sit here in front of y'all and say that I live in my own place. I bought myself a new vehicle. Just those type of things. It's awesome. It really is awesome. So. That's pretty much it from a highlights and lowlights standpoint. As I said, thank y'all so much. My success is completely predicated off of the help that I've received here, and it's not only coming a long way from a work standpoint, but a personal standpoint. I'm definitely growing. So
yeah, good work on that too. And just looking at some of the lowlights, thinking it's tough to have 3 of your 5 markets damaged. I mean, I think the only other person probably that affected was Ricky, where you might have had 4 for 4 damaged in some way, shape, or form. So, good work all around. I just say, you had a lot of issues with those markets. You never once gave up. You'd always come with ideas and thoughts on how do we keep this going, even when the market itself is down. So good work there. I think you work really, really well with your GMs. And I think anybody that doesn't have that direct contact with your GMs should get that. I preach it all the time. The connection with the GM it's a big deal. Once you have that rapport, it makes it easier to ask about a deal. It makes it easier to kind of jokingly push them a little bit. If you don't have that rapport, there's none of that. So good job doing that. You build that up well. Anyone that doesn't have that, take these few days and build that. Build it over drinks, build it over chicken wings, and have a good time with it. But connect on a daily basis, whether it's an IM or a phone call or an email. Anything needed. Let's get this on track. How do we work together as a team? So keep up the good work with that.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate that. Well, that's that.
Next one. Sorry, I walked away.
Into it. The next slide here into some of my commitments here. January, I'm really looking to put some decent numbers up here. I've been pretty solid on not creating anything less than, I would say, 80 to 85 ops. So I just want to make sure I'm staying consistent more than anything. Consistency is key. In regards to February and March, I'm thinking that markets like Savannah, markets like Palm Beach, these are markets that are going to start flourishing a little bit more. So we're looking to maybe get a little bit more out of those months. From a sign deal standpoint, I just want to make sure that I'm staying nice and consistent with the amount of sign deals created. And yeah, we're right at 45, nothing crazy. Just make sure I'm staying on my numbers, and yeah, that's pretty much about it. So, any questions?
I would say just to add on the left side, good forecast on ops created. It's probably going to be higher than quota just based on what we've seen. I just ran some quick numbers though, and thinking if you influence 45 out of your 265, you're at a 16% conversion rate. So try and think, of course we want to see signups increased, but think, okay, does it make sense to also drop my op count, to make sure that I am getting the quality that I need out of those.
Yes, sir.
Just always think 25% conversion rate, and whatever you can do. Again, forecasting, we want to see accurate numbers, but when you go back to your desk, sit down and think, okay, how do I get to the 25? What's that going to look like? Formulate a plan to get there. But yeah, that would already be 7% higher than your current. So it would be a hell of a start, so great job. But yeah, just keep an eye on those and think, how do I get it to that 25, which is what we want as a company.
Sweet.
But yeah, great work, Mo. Anything from anybody? Questions, comments? Raul?
I think with Mo being here in 8 months, I personally have seen a lot of growth. I know we talked about professional leads to personal or personal leads to professional, however you want to see it. I've seen it both, and I think we should acknowledge that, because I've seen a significant amount of maturity in you within those 8 months.
Thank you, buddy. It means a lot. Like I said, you guys have been so influential in my success and growth. And as being the coach all the time, it's really, really nice to have people that you can fall back on and say, hey, I need to be coached. So, from that regard, y'all have been so influential in my success, and it's not over. I think the biggest thing that I can bring to this team is that I work hard. I think that all of you guys see I'm competitive, but I'm an open slate, and I need to learn as much as possible, and I see that. So it's just a testament to y'all. So I appreciate it. I think that nobody's bigger than anybody else. We're all one team, and I'm just proud of what this team has done more than anything. So
Good work, Mo.
Good stuff, Mo.
Appreciate it.
one last time.
Go Dogs.
I actually have something to say too. I think that you're one of the people on the team that really shows your dedication. You kind of wear it as your personality, and everybody can see that. And so I think in the next 6 months when we do these presentations again, I think if you put your dedication on those signed deals and really the quality, I think it's going to be a lot higher than you expect.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So
Do me a favor on the curtain.
y'all root for the Dogs today too.
Good shit, Mo. Your energy is unmatched in the office. I think you we have a pretty tough job calling America. I say cold calling America, bro, and you can really bring it to that energy, that space, and really push people when we don't want to, be there. And I think in a role that we are, that is unparalleled. So it's a really big asset to have you on the team.
Well, just to speak to that again, from your standpoint, you personally motivate me to do great things, man. I never have a day where I come in and I, sit next to you guys and think, I can give a half butt effort, or I'm not there. We always pick each other up, and you've been just so influential. And one thing that I like to point out is the times where we do sit there and we say, hey, well, we need 110 out there, we need 17 out there here. And that's so important to have that type of support and somebody that believes in you. And
you're outbounding with somebody.
it's like, it's contagious. It really is. So I appreciate you. And we're one solid team. And just like my man here, John, said, it's a blessing to have so many close friends here. And making them.
Yep.
Good work, Mo.
Good job, Mo.
Go Dogs.